Hey everybody, I'm driving and I saw the questions and things in the chat group, so I wanted to answer, but I had a long answer and I'm driving, so I'm doing a video. My answer to who I'm going to vote for is, it's kind of a formula. I put 70% into the issues, into the values, the issues. I want to find someone who aligns as closely as possible with the things that I care about, closely and credibly. So that's 70%. 30% is electability. Electability is important, okay? But it's not everything, and I think you have to be careful with it, and I'll explain why in a minute. But to give an example how to use 70-30, take the candidates and give them a points. Rate them 1 to 7 on how closely they align with your values and how credible. So maybe they seem to align perfectly, but you're not sure you can totally believe them. Then I wouldn't give them the full 7. So give them that number. Then ask yourself, who do you think is most electable? Score that from 1 to 3. So, you know, if I take a Kathy Barnett, for example, she's pretty darn close to 7 on values. I haven't really seen anything that don't align, and I believe her. But Oz is buzzwording out there. When Trump came out, there was a lot of things that they said, oh, he's a liberal, he was pro-choice, he's with the Clintons, he did this, he did that. But Trump on the issues, he went way beyond the Republican Party. He went way beyond the conservatives. Maybe on the issue of abortion, I don't know if I could have believed him on that, but on every other issue, the America First, the immigration, the economy, ways to fix the economy, he was way out there. So, when they say, well, yeah, but he's really a liberal, that didn't really work for me, because he wasn't just using the buzzwords and saying, oh yeah, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. He was way beyond that. So that was compelling to me. When I look at Oz, I just hear the buzzwords. Life begins at conception. But I don't hear any passion. I don't hear him adding anything unique at all to his position on the issues. It's like a checkbox to me. It's like he's saying, okay, yep, said that one, said that one, said that one. So when you then look at his past, I have to ask, I don't find it very credible. So I wouldn't give Oz more than a 2, but probably a 1. So even if Kathy's a 0 in electability and Oz is a 3, that gives Oz a 4 and Kathy a 7. I'm voting for Kathy. Now, honestly, I don't actually run the numbers that way, but that just gives you a visual and understanding of how I'm looking at it. Now, be careful with this electability thing. The most powerful, think about marketing, think about politics in general. What are the motivators for people? Common enemy, okay, which is driven by fear, distrust, and hate. So really, fear and hate are like the most powerful human emotions. So political parties try to get people to do what they want them to do by using a lot of fear and creating an enemy to say, there's the bad guy right over there, and we need to stop him. Work with me to stop him. It's not about a positive vision. Okay, the most motivating thing in politics is fear and an enemy. So when the party is telling you who's electable and who's not, they're using that. Okay, they know this. They know that if I can make you afraid. So look at how I'm looking at some of your answers that are like, oh, I'm so worried about this. I'm so worried about it. I'm worried about the Democrats. That's the fear. Okay, they're trying to say, do what we want you to do, and make you use the fear factor to get you to comply. So, look at when Trump was running in 2016, he was unelectable. We were being told that he cannot win. First of all, he wasn't going to win the primary. No way. And he was not going to be able to win the general. If you recall, even at the convention, delegates, they were talking about nominating someone else. There was a big battle at the convention. So, but if you look at where we're at today, Trump has transformed the party, but there's still a battle within the party between what is true conservatism and what isn't. So if we had listened to that electability fear factor, there would never have been a Trump. And what would the Republican Party be? Well, look back at George Bush. George W. Bush was a neoconservative. If you don't know what that is, look it up. He's a neocon. And look up the Wikipedia page for a group called the Project for a New American Century. I didn't learn this until many years after Bush was out of office. Had I known about this before, I would have seen things differently. The Project for a New American Century was a neoconservative think tank. The founder of it was Bill Kristol. And if you know who Bill Kristol is, he's sort of the champion, the king of all never-Trumpers. Still to this day, he has multiple organizations, multiple groups that he's running to fight against Trump. Look at the people that are in there. It was Bill Kristol, it was Rumsfeld, it was Dick Cheney. If you read the members of PNAC, they were all through George Bush's cabinet. PNAC's number one vision was to transform the Middle East. And this goes back, into the 90s, way before George Bush, when this was concocted. They had a vision. They said, if we can establish a thriving democracy in the Middle East, then all the people in the other countries are going to see how prosperous they are, what a great life they have, and then all those people in those other countries will want a free democracy, so they'll basically overthrow their own governments and force change within their own countries. Now we have democracies throughout the Middle East, and the world is at peace, and everybody's happy. That was the vision, okay? It goes further. What was the ideal country to do this? What was the ideal country to enact this vision, to make this happen? Iraq. Iraq was the target country from the very beginning. Why? Because Iraq was seen, of all the Middle Eastern countries like this, as one of the most, more developed, more intellectual, more sophisticated. Okay, even though they were under the thumb of Saddam Hussein, it was believed that the people of Iraq had the capability and the drive and the motivation to make a democracy successful. Okay, so it was targeted way before George Bush. Now, Afghanistan is a crazy, Wild West, uncivilized country, so it was not the target. But what did they do? I mean, we were all told about the weapons of mass destruction and all that. So it was as if 9/11 was the opportunity to implement this neoconservative master plan for transforming the Middle East. Now, I think their intentions were good. I think their intentions were that they were trying to bring in peace, world peace, but they were blinded by ideology. That was the Republican Party through the Bush administration. Neoconservatism, not real conservatism. Neoconservatism is about, gets involved in world affairs. Real conservatism is America first. We take care of us, we take care of our people. When we elect people, they have a responsibility and job to serve America and Americans first. So that's the Trump world. Now, my own personal opinion, so after, who did the Republican Party nominate after George W. Bush? John McCain. John McCain and Mitt Romney. Okay, moderate, maybe some neoconservatism in there. They were not a conservative party. After the Mitt Romney, just ridiculous, absolute poor campaign, I swore off politics. I said, I don't care. I don't care about the Republican Party anymore. I don't care about anything. And because I firmly believe that, and I still do, conservative principles are good for people. Okay, there's a lot of practical advantages. We saw it under Trump. We saw the economy. We saw how many things were going well on the world stage and everything because of conservative principles. Well, my frustration with the Republican Party is they were kind of using the labels and the words and claiming to be conservative, but they didn't really seem committed to those principles. And not only that, they did not communicate to the people, to the regular people, to the voters, how these principles are going to help them. They just said, oh, we believe in small government. We believe in this. We believe in that. Trump came out and said, this is how it's going to help you. Where is he? I mean, he didn't just say we're going to create jobs. He showed how it was going to create jobs. So he spoke to the people. That was exactly what my problem was with the Republican Party up there. So really, Trump brought me back to the party. And I thought he was a joke to begin with, but it was that and his defiance of the media. Because that's another thing. Conservatives would say something, they would do something, the media would call them racist, and they would cower and hide. They would back off and go, oh, no, that's not really what I meant. Trump would double down and he attacked. That's conservatism, okay? Now, so the same people that told us Trump was unelectable would have denied us Trump are now telling you that these, okay, we know you like them, they're real conservative, but they can't win. You can't vote for them, okay? If you vote for them, you're going to get a socialist. You're going to, well, and then what's going to happen? We never change the party. We'd lose all the progress that we've made. I mean, what's worse, okay, to lose to some Democrats, as bad as that can be, as bad as we see it, or is it worse to send the party right back to where it was and not have any answer, any solution? So, I mean, the Biden presidency, it's been a total debacle, a total failure. It's been so bad for America. But guess what? That puts Republicans back on top. So when the more you give these socialists, the more you give these Marxists the win, the more screwed up everything is going to be. So we fight them, we try to stop them, we oppose them, but it's not the end of the world when they win, because it ends up they screw themselves. Look what happened with Netflix just now. Netflix, their internal memos to their woke employees saying, if you don't like our content, leave. Why? Because their stock's taking a pounding and because people are against them. And they're like, I mean, when push comes to shove, a business exists for the money. And I will tell you that Netflix doesn't care about woke, ideology. They care about money. 90% of the companies out there that are towing the line with this woke bull crap are doing it because they see that as the best way to make money. Okay? They don't want to be associated with any negativity. So, all I'm saying is, I mean, even if they win, even if the Democrats win and they have their way, they're going to screw stuff up so bad that what are we going to, but then, so when that happens, what do we respond with? Another moderate John McCain, Mitt Romney party? A neocon, Bill Kristol, George W. Bush party? Or are we going to respond with a conservative party? And how are we ever going to get a conservative party? How are we ever going to retain one if we don't tell the party what we want? I mean, if we don't, so you can't weight this electability as the number one factor. They're going to tell you that it's going to be the end of the world and all these Marxists are going to win and it's going to be terrible. No, the worst thing that can happen is not for the Marxists to win. The worst thing that can happen is for the conservative movement to disappear and die. And that's what's happening. So you decide, you pick your candidates, but don't let them do it. That's all I'm saying. Don't buy into that fear. Say, okay, electability is important, but how important is it? What is the most important issues? And then weight those and pick the candidates. I mean, I'm voting for a candidate that if you tell me, I don't care if they win the general. That to me is not the biggest factor right now, because I'm not voting just for the general to win the general election. I'm voting to tell the Republican Party what I want, the kind of candidates I want, the kind of candidates you to bring us, and the kind of candidates you need to get behind and support and not destroy. Don't destroy our candidates. That's my view.